Clara was only 4 years old when Ellen adopted her, after she had spent almost her entire life in an orphanage. The house was small, but it was filled with light and love. Ellen welcomed her with a warm hug that seemed to wrap the girl in a blanket of safety. "You're home now, my angel," Ellen said, with a smile that lit up her face and calmed the girl's restless heart. From that moment, Clara knew she was in good hands. Afternoons were spent at the public library, where Ellen worked. There, Clara explored a magical world among the books, their pages full of adventures and characters that seemed to leap out of the stories and dance around her. As the years passed, the relationship between Clara and Ellen blossomed. Ellen was a devoted mother, always ready to listen to the girl's desires and share moments of genuine affection. On a sunny day, while playing in the backyard, Clara watched Ellen talking with her siblings, a group of adults who often gathered together. The affection Ellen showed for them was evident, as if she had been a mother to them. Time, with its relentless ability to change everything, continued to move forward. Clara, in her innocence, could not foresee that her life, which had been full of smiles and stories until then, was about to face the most painful of reality. The love that surrounded her, Ellen's protection, could fade like a dream at dawn, and the girl at some point would have to confront the loneliness that awaited her. The day was gray and heavy, reflecting Clara's emotional state, who, at 11 years old, felt as if the world had collapsed on her shoulders. The news of Ellen's sudden illness, her adoptive mother, had come like a bolt from the blue, and now she found herself lost in a whirlwind of emotions. That morning, Clara had woken up with a light heart, not knowing that in a few hours her life would change forever. In the living room, the silence was deafening. Clara looked at Ellen's photograph on the table, where her smile was so radiant it seemed to light up even the darkest days. With trembling hands, Clara caressed the frame in an almost automatic gesture, trying to somehow feel the presence of the woman who had adopted her. "Why, Mom? Why did you have to leave me?" she murmured to herself, feeling the tears streaming down her face. The funeral was an event filled with unfamiliar faces for Clara. Friends and family of Ellen gathered to offer their condolences, but the young girl felt like a stranger amidst all the mourning. The only person who truly mattered was gone, and the pain of her absence, unbearable. After the funeral, Clara was taken in by Matilda, her aunt, who welcomed her with a tight hug, as if trying to convey all the love that Ellen had left behind. "I'm here, my dear. You are not alone," Matilda said, trying to comfort her. But Clara knew that life would never be the same again. Ellen's siblings were there, but they seemed more concerned with their own problems than with their niece's pain. Each of them drifted away, diving into their lives and leaving Clara and Matilda to grieve alone. Days passed, and Clara, now without the constant presence of her adoptive mother, changed schools several times, feeling like a fish out of water. Clara's life after Ellen's death became an emotional roller coaster, and the only constant amidst the chaos was her Aunt Matilda. Matilda, though she had limited resources, was a woman of enormous heart and determination. From the first day Clara came to live with her, Matilda did everything she could to ensure that the girl had a dignified life full of opportunity. Matilda worked long hours as a seamstress, earning just enough to cover the basic necessities. The house they lived in was small and simple, but it always had a warm and loving atmosphere. Matilda took care of Clara with all the affection she had, striving to be the mother figure the young girl so desperately needed. Desperate for financial and emotional support, Matilda tried to contact Ellen's other siblings, begging for help to care for Clara. However, her pleas were ignored, and her calls went unanswered. On one of the rare occasions she managed to speak to one of them, the response was cold and blunt. "Matilda, we can't take on this responsibility. Send the girl back for adoption. She's not our problem." Matilda was devastated, but this rejection only strengthened her resolve to care for Clara with even more love and dedication. Nights were often spent at the kitchen table, where Matilda helped Clara with her homework. "You are very smart, Clara. I know you can achieve great things," she would say, as she lovingly ran her hand through her niece's hair. With each smile Clara gave in response, Matilda felt that all her efforts were worthwhile. As time went by, Clara began to notice the absence of the other relatives who had been a constant presence when they lived with her mother. One rainy afternoon, sitting at the kitchen table with Matilda, she asked, "Auntie, why do the other aunts and uncles never visit us? Where are they?" Matilda, aware of their neglect, tried to hide the painful truth behind a sad smile. "They're very busy, dear. Each one has their own life and responsibilities. But what matters is that we have each other, and I will always be here for you," Matilda replied, caressing Clara's face. Although she missed her other relatives, Clara found comfort in her aunt's words. Despite financial difficulties, Matilda did not hesitate to invest in Clara's education. She knew that education was the key to a better future. On many occasions, Matilda would forgo buying something for herself so she could pay for Clara's studies. It was a sacrifice she gladly made, knowing she was building a future for her beloved niece. In addition to regular school classes, Matilda also sought ways to nurture Clara's passion for dance. When she heard about an art school that offered ballet classes, she didn't hesitate. She enrolled Clara, even knowing that it meant working extra hours and saving in other areas. "Dance is your soul, Clara. I want you to have the chance to shine," Matilda said, determined to see her niece happy and fulfilled. Years passed, and Clara grew up amid sacrifices and unconditional love. She excelled in school and dance classes, always motivated by her aunt's unwavering support. In contrast, Ellen's other siblings, Clara's uncles and aunts, remained distant. Clara saw them rarely, and when she did, she felt like a stranger among them. Some of them she barely remembered existed. The lack of support and presence from those who should have been part of her biological family was painful. Clara found strength in Matilda's love. One night, after an especially moving dance performance, Clara and Matilda returned home exhausted but happy. As they sipped tea in the small kitchen, Clara looked at her aunt with gratitude. "Aunt Matilda, I don't know what I would do without you. All the success I have today is thanks to you." Matilda smiled, her eyes shining with tears of joy. "Clara, my love, you are an extraordinary girl. All I did was support and love you. You are the reason for my pride and happiness. And remember, no matter what happens, I will always be by your side." This promise became a foundation for Clara. Constant reminder that despite the adversities and absence of other relatives, she was never alone. Matilda's love and sacrifice were living proof that true family is not defined by blood, but by bonds of affection and dedication. As time went by, Clara became a renowned dancer, but she never forgot her roots and her aunt's tireless support. Every step she took on stage was a tribute to Matilda's sacrifice, a dance of gratitude and eternal love. Clara was at a crucial moment in her career, preparing for a performance that could define her future as a dancer. The rehearsal routine was exhausting, but the young woman found solace and strength in dance, always remembering the sacrifices Matilda had made for her to get there. One night, after a long day of rehearsals, Clara was relaxing at home when her phone vibrated with a message from an unknown number. Curious, she opened the message and read, "Hello, Clara. This is your Aunt Helena. I would really like to talk with you. And we meet. I feel we have many things to resolve. Sincerely, Helena." Clara was surprised. It had been years since she had seen or heard from Helena, one of Ellen's sisters. She vaguely remembered distant encounters, but had never had a close relationship with this aunt. The message sparked a mix of curiosity and caution. She showed the message to Matilda, who was preparing dinner in the kitchen. "Aunt Matilda, look at this. Aunt Helena wants to talk to me. What do you think I should do?" Clara asked, handing the phone to her aunt. Matilda read the message and frowned, thoughtful. Helena was always distant, but maybe she has realized it's time to reconnect. If you feel comfortable, it could be an opportunity to resolve some past issues. But remember, Clara, you don't owe anyone anything. Do what you feel is best for you. Clara pondered Matilda's words and decided to respond to the message, suggesting a meeting at a cafe in the city center. On the appointed day, she was nervous but determined to face the past with courage. When she arrived at the cafe, she saw Helena sitting at a table in the corner, waving at her. "Clara, dear, how are you? You look beautiful," said Helena, standing up to greet her with a hesitant hug. "Hi, Aunt Helena. I'm fine, thank you," Clara replied, sitting down across from her aunt. The initial discomfort hung in the air, but Clara decided to be direct. "Why did you want to meet after all this time?" Helena sighed deeply, seeming to search for the right words. "I know I've been absent, and I'm very sorry for that. Ellen's death was a shock to all of us, and I think each of us dealt with the pain in different ways. I withdrew, but I never stopped thinking about you." Clara listened in silence, trying to understand her aunt's feelings. "You never really tried to get to know me, Helena. Those were difficult years, and the only person who stood by me was Aunt Matilda. Why now?" "I understand you're hurt, Clara, and you have every right to feel that way. I was scared and didn't know how to handle the situation. When I heard about your success as a dancer, I realized I had missed many important moments in your life. I want to try to rebuild this relationship. If you'll allow it," Helena said, with sincerity in her eyes. Clara felt a whirlwind of emotions. Part of her wanted to give her aunt a chance, while another part remained skeptical. "I won't lie, Helena. It's going to take time for me to trust you. The absence of support from the family has been very painful, but I'm willing to try, for the sake of moving forward." Helena nodded, tears welling in her eyes. "Thank you, Clara. I promise to do my best to make up for lost time. Let's take it one step at a time." The two women continued their conversation, slowly peeling back the layers of their past. Clara knew it wouldn't be easy, but she also understood the value of family, however flawed, and with Matilda's unwavering support, she felt ready to face whatever came next. "It's hard to trust you after so long, but I'm willing to try to understand. I won't promise anything, but we can start by talking." Helena smiled, relieved. "That's all I ask, Clara. I want to get to know you, learn more about your life, and maybe be a part of it. I know I have a lot to make up for." Two continued talking, with Helena asking questions about Clara's life and sharing stories from Ellen's past that Clara had never heard. Gradually, the conversation flowed more naturally, and Clara began to see a new side of her aunt that she had never known. When the meeting ended, Helena stood up to say goodbye. "Thank you for giving me this chance, Clara. I hope we can meet again soon." Clara nodded. "We'll see, Aunt. Thank you for coming." As she walked home, Clara reflected on the meeting. She knew that rebuilding relationships would be a long and uncertain process, but she felt that at least she had taken a first step. And regardless of what happened, she would always have Matilda by her side, a woman who never left her and who always believed in her. After the conversation with her Aunt Helena, Clara returned home with a heavy heart. In the days that followed, she reflected on the intentions of her biological relatives. Feeling that they were approaching her only because of her fame became unbearable. On an unexpected day, Matilda's phone rang, and upon answering, she heard the voice of Helena, one of Ellen's sisters, who had been out of touch for a long time. "Matilda, it's Helena. I urgently need financial help. It's an emergency," Helena said, the tone of forced urgency. Matilda, aware of Helena's recent concern due to Clara's fame, replied firmly, "I'm sorry, Helena, but I can't help right now." The call ended abruptly, leaving Matilda with a mix of sadness and determination to protect Clara from the relative's self-interested intentions. One night, Clara decided to share her feelings with Matilda. "Auntie, I talked to Helena, but I've realized that I don't want to see them anymore. I feel like they're approaching me because of my career. I can't accept that," Clara said with firmness in her voice. Matilda hugged her affectionately. "I understand, Clara. You have every right to choose who is part of your life. Focus on the people who truly care about you." Determined to move forward, Clara threw herself into rehearsals for her next performance, a national event that would be broadcast on TV. This was a crucial moment in her career, and she wanted to give her best. On the night of the performance, the theater was packed, and Clara felt the vibrant energy of the audience. Clara was stunning that night. The gala dress she had chosen for the event reflected her new life. A deep shade of blue that highlighted her eyes and made her shine under the sparkling lights of the hall. The space was filled with well-dressed guests, celebrities, and art critics, all ready to applaud the young dancer who, in a short time, had become a sensation. However, amid the excitement and glamour, Clara felt a tight knot in her stomach, a premonition she couldn't ignore. As she strolled through the hall, greeting those who recognized her, Clara spotted a familiar face. It was one of Ellen's brothers, the uncle she never knew well, but whose absence had marked her throughout her life. He was surrounded by other family members, all with smiles that seemed rehearsed, as if her presence there was a spectacle for them. Clara's heart raced. Memories of her childhood flooded her mind, and the pain of losing her adoptive mother mixed with the anger that began to grow inside her. "Clara," called the uncle, approaching with a smile that didn't seem genuine. "You look beautiful. It's amazing to see how much you've grown and become a renowned dancer." "Thank you," Clara replied, trying to maintain her composure, but the words were stuck in her throat and a wave of emotions overwhelmed her. She looked around and saw the curious glances of other family members. They watched her as if she were a rare relic, now that success smiled upon her. As the night progressed, Clara found herself surrounded by superficial conversation, empty compliments, and smiles that didn't reach the eyes. The hypocrisy of the situation bothered her. Everyone there seemed to care only about the image she projected, the famous artist, and not the girl who had lost her mother. It was then that, in a moment of unusual courage, Clara decided she needed to reveal the truth. Clara's national performance was a success. She was invited to give a speech at the end of the event, and the young dancer took the opportunity to speak from the heart. With the microphone in hand and the spotlight on her, Clara began. "Good evening, everyone. First of all, I want to thank each of you for being here today and for watching my performance. This moment is very special to me, and I'd like to share something very personal. May I have everyone's attention, please?" Her voice echoed through the hall, surprising those who were chatting animatedly. Clara stood tall, her heart pounding, and the room quickly fell silent. "Today, I am here not only as a dancer, but as a woman who wants to speak about what really happened in her life." The crowd stared at her, confused. Clara continued, feeling a wave of empowerment. "While many of you applaud me for my success, I cannot forget those who distanced themselves from me when I needed them most." She paused, took a deep breath, and continued. "Everything I am and everything I have achieved, I owe to a very special person, my Aunt Matilda. She took me in and cared for me with all the love and dedication, even facing great financial difficulty. She worked tirelessly to ensure I had the best education and could pursue my passion for dance. Aunt Matilda, this night is for you. Thank you for never giving up on me." The audience applauded, moved. Clara then changed her tone, more firm and direct. "Unfortunately, not everyone who should have been by my side was like that. Some people, who barely played a part in my life, now approach me only out of self-interest, seeking status and benefit. I won't name names. You know who you are. Fame and success attract many, but few genuinely care about the person behind the spotlight." Clara looked around, seeing familiar faces in the audience, and continued. "I want to make it clear that I will not be manipulated or used by anyone. Life has taught me to recognize true love and support, and my priority will always be those who stood by me in difficult times." There was a heavy silence in the room as Clara's words resonated. Some of her biological relatives, including Helena, were visibly embarrassed. Clara concluded her speech with dignity. "I hope my words serve as a reflection for everyone. True wealth lies in sincere relationships and genuine love. Thank you all, and good night." Thunderous applause filled the theater. After the ceremony, Helena and other relatives approached Clara, ashamed. Helena, with tears in her eyes, said, "Clara, I'm so sorry. You are right. We were unfair and insensitive. Only now do we understand how wrong we were. Please forgive us." Clara looked at them calmly and responded, "I accept your apology, but I need to move forward and focus on those who have always been by my side. I hope that one day we can rebuild some form of relationship, but for now, my path is with my Aunt Matilda." She said goodbye to her relatives and returned home with Matilda, feeling lighter and more determined. Clara knew that true family was the one that genuinely cared, and she was committed to repaying all the love and support she had received from her aunt. "Let's go home, Aunt. We have much to celebrate," said Clara, hugging Matilda. And so, Clara continued on her path, focused on helping and caring for the person who had always been by her side. Months had passed since the last major event where Clara stood out as a talented and recognized dancer. Life continued its course, and Clara and Matilda kept living together, strengthening their bond and facing challenges with courage and determination. Clara's fame brought unexpected opportunities, but also challenges and difficult decisions. Guided by Matilda's values and love, Clara decided it was time to take a new step in their lives. Clara received an offer she couldn't refuse to become a dance teacher at a renowned art school in another city. It was an opportunity that could not only further her career, but also provide a more stable and comfortable life for her and Matilda. However, the decision to move and leave behind the home they loved so much was not easy. One quiet evening, while they were having tea in the kitchen, lit by the soft glow of the lamp, Clara finally brought up the subject. "Auntie, I received an offer to teach dance at an art school. It's a great opportunity, but we would have to move," Clara said, with a mix of excitement and concern. Matilda smiled, feeling pride swell within her. "Clara, this is a wonderful chance. I always knew you could achieve great things. And as for me, I'll be happy wherever we are, as long as we're together." Clara felt immense relief hearing Matilda's words. "I want you to have a more comfortable life, Auntie. You've sacrificed so much for me. It's time to give back and ensure we can live without worries." With the decision made, Clara and Matilda began preparations for the move. News of Clara's new opportunity spread quickly, and many people from the local community came to say goodbye and wish them luck. The small house that once held so much love and sacrifice would be left behind, but the memories and the strength of their bond would remain intact. On moving day, Clara and Matilda, emotional, took one last look at the house that meant so much to them. "This is just the beginning of a new chapter, Auntie," Clara said, holding Matilda's hand. "We're in this together, as always." Matilda smiled, tears of joy in her eyes. "Yes, Clara, a new beginning for both of us." As the city faded into the distance, Clara felt a renewed sense of purpose and hope. With Matilda by her side, she was ready to face any challenge, knowing that together they could conquer anything. And so they began a new journey, ready to write more chapters of their story of love, sacrifice, and success. Enjoyed the video? Don't forget to like and follow our channel for more amazing content.